A castle does not rise in a single day. Its walls are not set in place by one great movement. It is built slowly, carefully, with patience and purpose, stone by stone, brick by brick, each piece laid upon another until the structure stands tall and strong. And so it is with knowledge, and so it is with your English. You will not find mastery all at once, but you will find it as you add word to word, phrase to phrase, lesson to lesson, until one day you look around and see what you have built. Think for a moment about the strength of a castle. Those walls are not easily shaken. They are firm, unmoved by the storms or the winds. Why? Because they are built upon a foundation, and they are layered piece by piece. The strength comes not from one giant stone, but from many, all working together. That is the way language works. One word alone is not enough. One phrase alone is not enough. But when you place them together, when you learn to stack them with care, they form a fortress of understanding, a structure that cannot be taken from you. And I want you to see yourself as the builder of that castle. No one else can do it for you. Teachers may hand you stones, friends may show you how to place them, stories may give you patterns and designs, but at the end of the day, your hands must do the work. You must take the word, you must place it in your mind, you must repeat it, and then you must use it. Every time you do, you are building your own castle of knowledge, and no one can take that from you. It may feel slow at times. You may stand in front of that wall and think, it's only one stone. It's so small. But remember, every great castle began with a single stone. Every tower began with a single block laid upon another. If you remain faithful in the small, the great will come. The key is not speed, the key is persistence, to keep building day by day, word by word, until the strength of your effort begins to show. But a castle is not only strength, it is also beauty. Think of the arches, the windows, the towers reaching into the sky. All of that came because the builder paid attention to detail, because they placed each stone with vision. Your English, too, is not only about being strong. It can be beautiful. The way words flow together in a sentence, the way a phrase carries emotion, the way a story paints pictures in your mind. This is the artistry of language. And as you build, you will see not only your strength grow, but also your beauty of expression. Do not be discouraged by the size of the task. From the ground, a castle seems impossible, but climb its stairs, and you will see how every step took you higher. Look at your journey in the same way. Today you learn one new word. Tomorrow you understand one new phrase. The next day you follow one new story. And as the days pass, you rise higher and higher until one day you look back and realize you are no longer standing on the ground. You are looking out from the tower you have built. And let me remind you of this. No one builds a castle in silence. The work echoes with sound. The strike of tools, the lifting of stones, the voices of those working together. Your journey with English must have sound too. Listen to it, repeat it, speak it. Fill your mind with the sounds of the language. Let them echo in your heart, and every echo will become another stone added to your walls. Before long, the walls are tall, the gates are strong, and your castle is complete. So as you hear this story, do not think of it as just words passing by. Think of it as stones handed to you. Every word is a stone, every phrase is a block, every lesson is a piece of your castle. If you will take them, if you will place them carefully, you will one day stand inside the fortress of your own knowledge, safe, strong, unshaken. Just like a castle is built stone by stone, your English grows word by word, phrase by phrase. When we talk about improving English, we often think first about speaking. We want to sound confident, fluent, and strong. But let me tell you something deeper today. Before you can speak well, you must learn to listen well. Listening is not just the act of hearing sounds. It is the art of opening your mind, your heart, and your spirit to what is being said. When you truly listen, you place yourself in a position to grow, to learn, and to understand in ways that go far beyond the surface. Think about it. Every child learns their first language not by speaking first, but by listening. A baby lies in a cradle, unable to form words, but day after day, that little one is listening. Listening to a mother's voice, a father's encouragement, the rhythm of stories, the sound of laughter. And over time, all those sounds begin to shape the words inside the child's heart, until one day they finally speak. Listening is the foundation of all language, and it is the foundation of growth. Now imagine yourself walking into a castle. The gates are tall and heavy, the walls strong and guarded. You stand before it, wondering how you can enter. Listening is the key that unlocks the gate. Without it, the doors remain closed, the treasures inside remain hidden. But with it, the path opens, and you walk into a new world of knowledge, of understanding, of life itself. That is what listening does when you are learning English. It unlocks the doors to meanings, to expressions, to the culture and emotions that words carry. Listening also requires humility. You see, pride says, "I already know enough." Pride shuts its ears and closes its mind. But a humble heart says, "I want to hear more. I want to learn more. I want to grow." And when you have that humility, your ears become like open windows. Every sound that enters is not just noise. It becomes seed planted in the soil of your mind. Over time, those seeds grow into confidence, into skill, into wisdom. But listening must be active, not passive. Passive listening is when the words fly over your head, when you let them come and go without care. Active listening is when you lean in, when you focus, when you give yourself fully to the moment. You begin to hear not just the words, but the meaning behind them. You begin to sense the rhythm, the tone, the emotions carried in the voice. That is where true understanding is born. And let me tell you this, listening is not just about language, it is about life. The best relationships are built on listening. The strongest leaders are those who have learned to listen before they speak. The greatest discoveries have come because someone listened carefully to the world around them. If you can master the art of listening, you will not only improve your English, you will improve yourself. So today, as you listen to this story of the castle, don't just hear the words, let them reach deep into your heart. Listen to the way sentences rise and fall. Listen to the pauses, to the flow, to the music of the language. Each sound is a step forward, each word a building block, each phrase a new doorway. This is how you begin to climb higher. This is how you move closer to mastery. When you truly listen, you open the doors to learning, to growth, and to understanding. And once those doors are open, no one can close them again. Stories have a way of reaching us in places that simple explanations never can. When you hear a story, it does something more than just fill your ears with words. It begins to shape your mind. It begins to stir your imagination. It begins to leave marks on your heart that last far longer than the sound of a voice. Every story carries within it not just entertainment, but a lesson, a message, and a power that can change the way you think, the way you feel, and even the way you live. Think back for a moment to when you were a child, perhaps sitting in a classroom or on the floor of your home, hearing a story told for the very first time. You may not have remembered every word, but you remembered the feelings, the images, the characters. Stories paint pictures in the mind, and those pictures stay with us. That is why stories are some of the most powerful tools for learning a language. They go beyond grammar, beyond vocabulary lists, beyond memorization. They carry meaning that sinks deep into you, and when meaning sinks in, the words begin to live inside of you. Now, when you hear the story of a castle, you are not just learning about walls, towers, and gates. You are stepping into a world of imagination. You can see the stone walls stretching into the sky. You can feel the echo of footsteps in the hallways. You can sense the mystery of what lies behind those doors. And while your imagination is alive, your language is alive too. You are learning not just words but feelings, not just sentences but experiences. That is why stories shape the mind. They train you to see through words, not just at them. When you allow a story to shape your mind, your heart is touched as well. Stories speak to emotions in ways that plain statements never could. If you read about courage, you may understand the definition. But if you hear the story of someone who stood up against fear, who overcame the odds, you feel that courage. It becomes part of you, and when it becomes part of you, the language that carried it becomes part of you too. That is the hidden strength of stories. They don't just teach, they transform. Learning English through stories is not just about practice, it is about building character. You see, every story has a lesson. Some stories remind you to be patient, others remind you to be brave, others teach you the value of kindness or the danger of pride. These lessons are not just for the mind, they are for the heart. And as your heart grows stronger, your language grows sharper. Because words tied to meaning are words you never forget. But there is something else about stories. They invite you to remember. A story once heard can be recalled again and again, sometimes years later. And every time you recall it, the words echo back into your memory. That is why stories are such a powerful way to learn. They make the language stick because the lesson itself is unforgettable. And let me say this, when you listen to a story, you are also training yourself to tell one. A listener today can be a storyteller tomorrow, and storytelling is one of the most powerful skills you can ever gain. To tell a story well means you can share an idea, touch a heart, inspire a mind. It means you can move from being a learner to being a teacher, from being someone who receives to someone who gives. And that, my friends, is when you know your language is alive. So as you hear this story of the castle, don't just take in the words as sounds. Let them move your imagination, let them build pictures in your mind, let them stir lessons in your heart, because every story is more than words. It is a seed planted in you, and once it grows, it will shape your mind, sharpen your language, and guide your steps forward. Learning is not a race. It is not a sprint to the finish line, and it is not about carrying the heavy weight of everything all at once. Learning is a journey, and like every journey worth taking, it is traveled step by step. Too often people feel discouraged because they think they must master everything today. They want the words, the grammar, the pronunciation, the confidence, all at once. And when it feels overwhelming, they stop. But my friends, the truth is this: you don't need to climb the mountain in a single day. You only need to take the next step. Think of a child again just beginning to walk. That child does not take giant leaps. The first step is small, shaky, uncertain. The next step is a little stronger. Then with time, those steps turn into walking, then running, then climbing. That is the pattern of growth. That is the way learning happens, not in sudden leaps, but in steady steps forward. The same is true when you learn English. One word today, one phrase tomorrow, one story the next day. Slowly but surely, the path opens up before you. We sometimes look at people who speak fluently and think they were born that way. But no one is born fluent in any language. They built it over time through listening, through trying, through failing and trying again. And if they could build it step by step, so can you. There is no shame in starting small. In fact, starting small is the only way to reach something great. When you listen to a story, don't try to catch every word. Catch one phrase, hold on to it, let it become part of you. Tomorrow, add another phrase. The next day, add another. Each small step is a victory. Each one carries you farther than you were before. And when you look back after weeks, months, even years, you will see that all those little steps have carried you across a long distance. You didn't leap across it, you walked it one step at a time. Patience is the secret ingredient. Without patience, you demand too much of yourself too quickly. Without patience, you lose hope. But with patience, every small step becomes meaningful. You learn to celebrate progress instead of only perfection. You learn that a single story can teach you more than a textbook filled with words you don't understand. You begin to realize that the process itself is part of the reward. And let me tell you something else. Every step matters, even the ones that feel weak. Sometimes you will stumble. Sometimes you will forget a word or make a mistake or feel unsure. That's not failure. That's part of the journey. The stumble today becomes the strength tomorrow. The mistake today becomes the memory that fixes the word in your mind forever. If you never took those steps, even the weak ones, you would never move forward at all. Imagine again the image of a castle. You cannot reach the highest tower in one bound. You must climb the stairs one by one. You place your foot on the first step, then the second, then the third. With each step, you rise higher. And before long, you are standing at the top, looking out over the walls, seeing how far you have come. Learning English is the same. Don't look only at the tower and feel overwhelmed by its height. Look at the step before you and take it. One story can be your step today. One lesson can be your step tomorrow. One word you repeat, one phrase you practice, one sentence you listen to with care. These are not small things. They are building blocks, stones laid one after another, forming the pathway to fluency. And just as no strong castle is built in a day, no strong speaker is built in a day either. Greatness comes from small efforts repeated faithfully over time. So if you feel tired, if you feel slow, if you feel like your progress is too little, remember this. You don't need to master everything at once. You only need to master today's step, and then tomorrow's, and then the next, and each step will lead you forward, higher, stronger, closer to the dream you hold in your heart. Take the next step today. Every word you hear has more power than you realize. It may sound small, it may seem ordinary, but hidden inside each word is an opportunity. Each word carries with it a chance to move forward, a chance to rise higher in your journey of learning. Too often we treat words like passing shadows, here for a moment and gone the next. But if you listen closely, if you hold them in your heart, you will see that every word is like a seed. And inside that seed is the promise of growth. Think about the first words you ever learned in English. They were simple. Maybe it was hello, maybe it was thank you, maybe it was yes or no. At the time they felt small, but those words opened doors. They allowed you to connect, to greet, to respond, to belong. And from those little beginnings, more words came. Each one added to your strength, each one lifting you higher. That is the hope inside every word. None of them are wasted, none of them are meaningless. Each one is a stepping stone leading you closer to where you want to be. When you listen to a story, you may hear many words that feel familiar, and you may hear some that feel new. The familiar words remind you of how far you have already come. They are proof that you have grown, that you have gathered something lasting. The new words, even if they feel strange or difficult, are not barriers. They are invitations, invitations to grow, to learn, to take another step. Every new word you face is a door waiting to be opened, and behind that door lies more confidence, more skill, more opportunity. There is hope in every word because words do not just shape language, they shape your future. Think about this. Every job, every friendship, every opportunity in life is built on words. The ability to express yourself, to understand others, to listen and to respond. These are the very tools that carry you into new places. And each word you add to your knowledge is another tool in your hand, another weapon in your fight against fear, another light guiding you on your path. Sometimes you may feel discouraged. You may say to yourself, "It's just one word. What difference does it make?" But let me tell you that one word could be the one that unlocks understanding in a conversation tomorrow. That one word could be the bridge that connects you with another person. That one word could be the key that gives you courage when you need it most. Never underestimate the hope inside even the smallest word, and it is not only about the words themselves, but also the way they change you as a person. Each word you learn, each word you practice, builds more than vocabulary. It builds resilience, it builds patience, it builds character. Every time you choose to keep going, every time you choose to listen again, you are proving to yourself that you will not give up. And that determination, my friends, will carry you far beyond language. It will carry you into life itself. There will be days when the words feel heavy, when the sentences feel confusing, when you think progress is too slow. But even in those moments, there is hope, because the very act of trying, the very act of listening is shaping you. Even when you don't notice it, your mind is growing, your ear is training, your understanding is building. Every effort counts, every word matters, and as you continue on this journey, remember that words are not just sounds in the air. They are bridges between hearts, they are windows into cultures, they are tools of connection. When you hear a story, let the words remind you that you are part of something greater. Let them remind you that you are rising, you are building, you are moving forward. So never let a single word pass you by without hope. Catch it, hold it, treasure it, and let it lift you, because each word you hear carries a chance to improve, a chance to rise higher in your journey. There is something deep inside every one of us that longs to be heard. It is not enough to only listen, not enough to only take in the words of others. There comes a moment when you must rise and speak, when you must find your own voice and share it with the world. That is why learning English is not just about listening and understanding. It is about discovering your voice, shaping it, strengthening it, and then using it with courage. Think for a moment about the power of a voice. A single voice has started movements, has inspired hope, has brought comfort to the hurting and guidance to the lost. Your voice may not fill stadiums or echo through history books, but your voice matters. It matters to your family, it matters to your friends, it matters to the people you meet along your path. And when you learn a new language, when you shape your voice in English, you give yourself another way to be heard. You give yourself another way to connect, another way to lift someone else up, another way to tell your story. Too many people believe that because their English is not perfect, their voice has no place. They stay silent, waiting until the day they feel flawless. But perfection is not what gives your voice value. What gives your voice value is its honesty, its courage, its willingness to step out even when it shakes. Do not wait for the day you never make mistakes, because that day may never come. Begin to speak with what you have now, because every time you do, you grow stronger. Your voice in English does not need to sound like anyone else's. It does not need to copy the accent of another person or match the rhythm of a native speaker. It needs to be yours. It needs to carry your heart, your story, your truth. When you speak, you are not just sharing words, you are sharing yourself. And the world needs what only you can bring. Think of how a castle stands tall, not only because of its stones, but because of its towers that rise above the walls. Those towers can be seen from far away, a signal to those approaching. Your voice is like that tower. It rises above the silence. It signals to others that you are here, that you are alive, that you have something worth saying. Without your voice, the castle remains hidden. But with your voice, it becomes visible for the world to see. Listening is the beginning, yes. Listening shapes the mind, fills the heart, and lays the foundation. But the foundation is not the end of the building. The castle must be raised. The towers must stand. That happens when you take the courage to speak. You may stumble, you may mispronounce, you may search for words, but none of that takes away the power of your voice. Every attempt adds strength. Every word spoken adds another stone to your tower, and over time that tower becomes unshakable. There will always be voices of doubt, some from others, some from within yourself. They may whisper, "You're not ready, you're not good enough, stay silent." But silence is not your calling. Silence does not serve you. Speak anyway. Speak because your journey matters. Speak because someone needs to hear you. Speak because your voice was never meant to be buried in fear. And here is the beauty of it. When you use your voice, you not only grow yourself, you inspire others. Someone else who is afraid may hear you and think, if they can speak, so can I. Your courage becomes their courage. Your words become their hope, and together voices rise, stronger than they ever could have been alone. So do not hold back your voice. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for permission. You already have what you need. Take the words you have learned. Take the phrases you know. Take the stories that have shaped your mind and let them flow from your mouth. Because learning English is not only about listening. It is about finding your voice and sharing it with the world. Thank you for joining me on this journey where listening opens doors, stories shape hearts, and step by step we rise higher. Together, we're building a castle of knowledge, finding hope in every word, and discovering the power of our own voices. Every moment you spend learning brings you closer to confidence, closer to growth, closer to the life you dream of. So keep listening, keep speaking, and never stop believing in the power within you. If this message inspired you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs hope today.